Hey, this is Chris, Leacris Mobility, just kind of a daily update. I'm going to return that MacBook Pro. As I said in the last video, it still doesn't work, but I just don't have any more time to spend on it. After you spend 10 hours on something trying to troubleshoot it and trying to get it, to find out something about it, why isn't it working? Why isn't the charging light working? Why doesn't it continue? And finish startup, I have no idea. There's no kind of error messages with Apple's, and so you don't have a clue, really. You don't have a single clue what's going on. There's no way to run utilities like you can in Windows with rescue disks and things of that nature. I mean, maybe there is an Apple rescue disk. If there is, I don't know where it is, and quite frankly, I don't feel the need to spend a lot of time trying to find it and download it, burn it, and then run it. I mean, we're talking another hour, 2 hours to do all that. I hardly work on Apples anyway, and of course I'm not going to work on them anymore, so what's the point? So that's done. I'm going to close the books on that one. Got to deliver a computer back to a customer, had Windows 10. See this a lot, Windows 10 updates breaks computers. They won't reboot after they're done. I was able to boot into safe mode. Well, I was able to, using a command line interface from a boot disk, was able to create another user and was able to get into that, but then the computer couldn't read the system profile for the brand new user, and then I got it's just called a hard error. I thought it meant hard drive error. I looked it up. It doesn't mean that at all. It means there's some corrupted system files that need to be fixed, and so it's a mangled up mess. I think probably what happened with that machine is it had some kind of virus, and it just kept the update from completely installing. But I do see that a lot with Windows Update. Windows will update, especially the major updates. It'll update and just break the computer, and then all you can do is reload. And so that's what I did. I downloaded. Fortunately, you can download the latest ISO image directly from Microsoft, so you don't have to worry about getting viruses by going onto a torrent site or something like that. And so, and of course, the licensing is built into the machine itself, so you don't have to worry about key codes or anything like that. And so that's licensing keys. I mean, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. So you just load it up, and it dials home to Microsoft and gets the activation code, and it's activated. So that works out well. Fortunately, this user did not have a lot of, she had a lot of data on there, but not a lot of specialized programs. Just general, just pictures and documents that she wanted to save. So I was able to save those. And so that went well. I used my driver packs to load all the drivers, and it was ready to go. It didn't take, it doesn't take long. If you just, the one advantage of reloading is it's fast. You can generally get it done in under 2 hours from start to finish. So that's pretty good. So we like that. So we're going to deliver that one back. Got an iPhone that was dropped and then clipped by a lawnmower blade. It's like, wow, must have been out, fiddling around with the phone while riding on the lawnmower. And it wasn't bad. The case was, of course, it was bent, but not severely, like maybe 1/8 of an inch out of true at one corner. And so, I did take my C-clamp, and I, used little blocks of wood, and I got it pretty darn straight. And I thought, well, okay, we're close enough now. Let's test fit the new screen. Well, I had noticed when I took the screen out that there was an extra screw, just kind of like in the case. And then one of the screws on the cover that holds down the cover where all the connectors are was out, and I didn't pay much attention to it. But then when I got the new screen and went to put it in, one of the connectors wouldn't fit. And of course, when you're working with those little tiny connectors, the first rule is be very, very careful and gentle. Do not use excessive force. And so when it wouldn't pop right in like the other two connectors did, I took a close look at it and saw that it was mangled. And there was nothing. It was that, for me, it's an irreparable irreparable damage. I cannot fix that. I know it can be fixed. I know there's people on YouTube that fix things like that. That is way beyond what I'm able to do, or even what I want to do, which is why I can't do it. I'm not interested in that. So I had to text the owner of that particular item, and she's just going to get it back. Fortunately, I said I would charge $30 to look at it, and she agreed to that ahead of time. So I'm not coming away empty-handed. I'm just not coming away with nearly as much money as I could have otherwise. But that's okay. I mean, I'm glad I did not try to force that connector, and then I would have been out the cost of the screen and, well, see, I can return the screen still because it's Amazon, so I'll get all my money back except for the $7.38 return shipping fee. So obviously someone had taken apart the phone and had mangled that connector, and the customer had said, well, the screen was white but didn't have an image. Well, that is classic. You know, if you don't get the display connector connected, all you get is the backlight, and so that's what happened. And so sometimes I just don't look carefully enough on my initial evaluation, except I went ahead and ordered the screen first anyway, sight unseen, because I knew I could return it. So anyway, sometimes you do things for the sake of expediency, rather than accuracy. So anyway, that's the end of that one. And then I'm going to the Granville County Museum. They have a museum cataloging program called Past Perfect, and they're running this. It's a networked thing, and so they've got the files on the director's computer, and the director's computer it's got Windows 10, and there's so many subtle things wrong with that installation, and I think it's just one of those things where it's updated, and there's half of the network settings are not available. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And so every time something happens to that machine, they call me because they have to get the network connectivity back up, and every time I kind of figure out something to do that's not exactly the right thing to do, but it works. But it's gotten to the point now where that machine really needs to be taken offline and really fixed. But more importantly, what they need is a dedicated machine to run their Past Perfect server files so that it can always be on, so they don't have to. The advantage will be, when I'm done, is they won't have to worry about what's going on the director's computer. The laptop that I'm going to use will always be on. I'm going to set it so it's always on. And so those files will always be available, and whatever else they need is always going to be available as well. So that is important to me. And so that way, it will, in the long run, because I'm charging $30 every time I go over there just to reset a network setting to get it to work. So they won't have to call me as often. They'll call me when they really need something important, rather than when they just need something with a quick patch job. So this is a network installation that I inherited from somebody else, and it's not a bad one. It's just, if you're going to have a server, you need to have a server and not use somebody else's computer as a server, not somebody else's workstation. That's what I mean. So that'll take care of that. And so those are my plans this morning. So whoop-de-doo. I will get all this stuff done hopefully by lunchtime, and then it's back to mowing grass, because I have a big yard. I have about 1.5 acres of grass to mow every week, and it's growing rapidly now because we've had so much rain, but I'm trying to get it to where it looks decent. So, and it does, but it just grows really fast. So, but I got to keep on top of it. So anyway, if you got any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do. We'll see you on the next one.